Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Ashleigh Williams Show. I am super excited. Y'all, I did a poll. I was like, what do y'all want to hear about on the show? What topics do you want us to discuss? And one of the most popular topics is finances. So I got to thinking, like, who should I have on? Like, who can intelligently speak to the topic and give us good information to help us to go be rich and build generational wealth? So we have a special guest today. I'm super excited to welcome Brian.
Appreciate you having me, Ashley.
I'm so excited. So before we get started, we have a segment on the show called Lemons to Lemonade. And it's to loosen us up, but also to give the audience, ideas to turn like bad situations into good. Like as millennial, are you a millennial?
I think I'm a Gen Z.
Oh my God.
I'm 25.
You young.
I'm a baby.
That's okay though.
With a grown mindset though.
Period.
You're
It's all about the mindset. But back to lemons and lemonade.
Okay.
But it's to help us to not, as millennials or Gen Z, it feels like the world is against us sometimes. Like we got the worst of the worst in terms of the economy, the job market, life in general. So I do this segment to kind of help reframe our mindset. So do you have a lemon that you turned into a lemonade?
Well, yeah. So I was a college basketball player, right? So I played 6 years of Division I basketball.
Okay.
So I did 4 years at Murray State, and I played with NBA superstar Ja Morant. And then yeah. That was my teammate. We came in the same year. So
Would you go to Memphis?
no. Oh, would I go play for the Grizzlies? Yeah, I'll play for any NBA team.
Wait, pause.
I don't have the NBA talent, but I play on the NBA team.
What was the shade against Memphis, though?
I don't know. I just think of Glorilla and just, I love Glow. Yeah, I love Glow. She go crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Memphis is you got to be tough. I'm kind of a pretty boy. I don't know about the rough around the edges lifestyle, but
Wow.
I'm from the beach. You know what I'm saying? Sarasota,
state?
Florida.
Oh.
Yeah, so Memphis, I don't know. I heard the food's really good, though.
The food is great.
But anyways, back to the lemons
Right.
and lemonade. So yeah, being a college basketball player. So I walked into the office my senior year, and I'm thinking I have 2 more years of eligibility, so I'm gonna get my master's degree at Murray State, only college I've known. And the coach basically said, it's time for you to move on. So I had to, for me, I was real uncomfortable. I was like, man, I haven't been anywhere else. It's all I've known for college. And I had to move to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and go to a HBCU. And I never heard of a HBCU. I never heard of Southern University. So it was a really uncomfortable situation for me. But going there and then playing the best basketball of my career, getting multiple awards, being able to take a free trip out to here, Atlanta, Georgia, and where I got my job offer. So that was one of those situations where I didn't know what God was doing at that point. And he put me in Baton Rouge for a reason. And now I am the, biggest HBCU Southern University fan ever. So that was a situation where I thought it was negative, and turned out to be one of the best decisions of my life.
Well, cheers.
And we're going to drink to that one.
Period. Lemons to lemonade.
These are cute.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Is it good?
Oh, that's good. That's fresh.
I'm just
Fresh squeezed.
Fresh squeeze. Oh, I like that. So that was actually one of my questions. So you didn't start at Southern. You transferred, and you really didn't think it would have been a good situation, but it turned out to be better.
Yep.
Did you realize at Southern you wanted to go into the finance industry?
Honestly, no. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I was kind of good at with my finances. Being adopted, again, raised in a white family.
Really?
Yeah, I was adopted at 4 years old. It was a little different than what I was used to, right? So in college, no one had financial conversations, no one had financial literacy. But what I grew up on was, Dave Ramsey and budget meetings, So I grew up in a different culture, right? Where we talked about finances and we talked about savings and emergency fund and investing and having a portfolio. So then you get to college and you go to HBCU and all your teammates, are African American, right? Those just not having those conversations. So I always knew I was a little bit, further than most people who were my peers in the finance realm. And then I knew I wanted to talk to people, right? I knew I was good at communicating, and I was like, what can I do that's educational, but I can also use my voice and use my charisma. And being a financial advisor kind of shaped up to both of those things. So I'm always educating people, but then it's like this, you get to have a conversation. I love to talk, and I love to hear people's stories. So it was kind of the perfect mix.
I like that. We talked about you being Gen Z and a little younger. What has your experience being Gen Z in the finance industry where it seems so old, white, male?
Yes, exactly. And there really is lacking, that cultural diversity when it comes to finance. So, I mean, for me, it's been great, honestly, right? I think being young has been working to my advantage, right? Having energy on these calls with people, and then having someone who's, who looks like them, talks like them, and walks like them, right? And I have clients who are older, I have clients who are younger than me, but I think they just like being educated and understanding that, white people they're not, ripping them off or they don't trust them. It's just when you have someone who looks like you and understands where you come from, it hits a little different, right? I have some great partners who are also, black advisors who've been doing this for a long, long time. And, so I think it's worked to my advantage out here. Also just being able to network and meet new people. And I'm cultivating relationships right now, right? So they see I'm young, they see I'm working, they see I'm grinding, doing something really good. People who are older, has been here for a while, they want to reach out, right? They want to give back and they want to help me. Hey, come here, come there, come here, come to this meeting. So it's been working to my advantage, honestly.
I like that. So what advice would you give college students or people fresh out of college or people who are looking at a career shift and would like to get in that? What's your title?
Financial advisor.
Financial advisor. What advice would you give them?
Um, Network. That's the biggest thing. So it gets uncomfortable sometimes, right? Having conversations, reaching out to people that you wouldn't normally reach out to. You have to get outside your comfort zone. But I know if you're ever comfortable in life, you're not learning, right? So for me, I enjoy being uncomfortable, right? I enjoy doing things that most people wouldn't. So if you're trying to come into this world, it's all about who you know. It's all about, getting yourself out there, getting your name out there, and having no fear, right? So I think that's the biggest thing. So meet people, talk to people, shake hands, kiss babies, whatever you got to do. Because that's what, you're building your own. In this job, you build your own book of business, right? So there's no leads coming in. You really have to start from zero and build your whole thing. So and that's what I've done or tried to do. I'm still going.
Still learning. That's good. What they say, your network is your net worth.
Yes, ma'am.
I like it. So you talked about your upbringing where, you grew up on Dave Ramsey. You were accustomed to budgets. You were in those budget meetings with your family. So how can you start to build a solid financial foundation, especially considering like some people are going to come out of college with student debt. They may have an exorbitant amount of credit card debt. Everybody's situation is different. So how do you start to build that foundation?
I think some of the most important things, right, is like we talk about emergency funds, right? So I think the most important thing you can do is, get a high yield savings account and just start saving your money. Straight out of college, you don't got really no money, right? So it's hard to tell people to invest. I get on a lot of these calls like, hey, I want to invest in this, I want to invest in that, but it's, we got to get the foundation first, right? So if you have, I always say this, if you got a house, with a flat screen TV and Alexa, all these type gadgets, but no roof on the house, what happens when the storm comes, right? So when life happens, you got to have a foundation around you. So that's an emergency fund. That's life insurance. I think is really good for young people, just because it's age, health, disability insurance. Just prepare for life, right? So everyone looks at YouTube and TikTok and they're like, oh, I should get real estate. I should do that. And yes, those are great things. But people who are doing that have already laid the foundation of having a savings account. And then when it comes to student loans, we always see student loans as it's not a great debt to have, but it's not a bad debt, right? Because you want to be where you are in your career if you didn't go to college, right? So we tell a lot of people, don't make that the focus, make the credit card debt the focus, because that's your highest interest rate. And that's really going to take the most toll on your financial plan. So before you ever start investing, we got to focus on the credit card debt. Let's get that down some. We don't got to be completely gone, but let's be aggressive on it. Student loans, pay the minimum. Right? I mean, they're going to be there. Everyone's going to have student loans. I say don't stress too much about that. It's not killing you. And then let's get an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months savings. Let's get an emergency fund started. Let's start putting money toward your savings. And then once your foundation is set, right? Once you're prepared for anything that happens to you in life, any storm that comes your way, you're prepared financially, then we can start investing and start doing some of the fun stuff, right? But people want to go straight to the good part, you know what I'm saying? And that's just not how it works financially. So
let's skip to the good part. You said two things. So the first one on that 3 to 6 months of expenses in the savings account. What would you say to the people that say, well, why would I store X amount of funds in a high yield savings account? Yes, it's high yield, but it's not doing as much as it would if I were to invest it. So why would you still encourage people to have that in a savings account?
Yeah, because you need fast cash, right? So as in if something happens to you, you get in a car accident, like I said, if life hits and you need some money fast, the savings account's the quickest way you're gonna get it, right? So if you're invested in real estate, right, you can't just sell your house tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So there's things that you can't do as quickly. If you got a Roth IRA started, right, you're gonna get taxed on that, a penalty if you just try to take that out, or a 401k. So we'll put it somewhere where there's no penalties, right? But it's still growing really well and you can get it immediately. So as soon as something happens, oh, good thing I saved all this money up. I can start taking out of there. That's really, and it's good to invest, right? But we want to make sure you have just some fast cash that you can use in case of emergency.
That's good. The second piece you mentioned, which I'm just wrapping my head around, I'm 29, y'all. So whenever you learn this information, you learn it. So don't feel bad about that. But you said you need to have a life insurance policy. What's the difference between I go to Breon and get a life insurance policy versus the one that I have in my job? Why do I need two? What's yours going to do for me, the one that, my job doesn't?
Yeah. So, and that's a question we get all the time, right? So the biggest thing is what happens if you leave that job, right? Do you still have insurance? No. So you only have your insurance through your job. And they're usually offering, I think, like just your salary, like 3 times your salary. And we can offer a lot bigger death benefit for a lot lower cost, right? So people are always like, why do I need 2 of them? Well, if you get fired from that job, if you change careers, which people do all the time, you no longer have life insurance, right? So one of the things is you can have an insurance, you can work for the same company for 20 years, right? And you have life insurance, but say your health changes, right? So say you get cancer, the older you are, the more expensive it is. 20 years down the road, they do cutoffs, they layoffs. You no longer have life insurance. You try to go get life insurance through me, you're not healthy enough. Right? So it's say, well, let's get it outside of your job when you're healthiest, right? We don't know what life's going to bring. And then no matter what happens with your career, you're still insured. So that's the biggest reason that we say get it outside of your job.
And how do some people use it as an investment tool? Like I've heard that, but I don't.
Yeah, the whole make yourself the bank thing. Yeah. So it's something called permanent life. So there's 2 forms of life insurance, right? There's term life insurance and permanent life insurance. Term life insurance, is really cheap, really affordable. A lot of young people get it, right? Because it's probably $20, $30 a month. Everyone's going to Target. Let's just stop going to Target and pay a little life insurance. But that's going to expire, right? So your life insurance at your job, life insurance at term life, it expires at a certain age, right? So you put all this money into it and eventually you'll no longer have life insurance. Permanent life insurance is something that doesn't expire, right? Where it's almost like a savings account on steroids. So we don't want to say the term investing because it'll never have the same rate of returns as the stock market, but you put money into this, each month, it grows at a great rate. And then it's also something you can take money out of when you're living, right? So it's something that's growing better than a high yield. It's growing better than your savings account, but then you can use that money out of the policy. It's called cash value. Yeah. You take money out of that and you use that tax-free for whatever you want to use it for. Now, why people say you can borrow from it, say Ashleigh wants to go buy investment property. Yeah. Instead of going to the bank, right, and getting a bank loan, you say, hey, I got this permanent life insurance policy that I built all this money in for the last 10 years. Let me borrow money from myself. And then you just pay yourself back into the policy when you want to. Instead of going to the bank and paying the bank back and the interest rate and the penalties and all that, you just say, hey, I built this money up over here in my own policy. Let me borrow from that and, invest it, do whatever you want with it. Tax free.
That's a good explanation. Y'all ain't never heard it explained like this. So let me go get some life insurance.
Got to.
Make sure I'm good. No, I appreciate that. So we talked about building the foundation. We have our foundation. We have our savings accounts, our term. What's the other one?
Permanent life. There's so many different forms of permanent life.
We got our life insurance, whatever. We have our life insurance. So now we're ready to invest. Mm-hmm. So what would you say to Gen Z millennials who are looking to start investments? Where do you start? You said real estate. Is it the stock market? What were they doing in the pandemic? Forex. Is it Forex?
Yeah, Lord have mercy. So, and that's another question we get a lot is where do you start? Because you hear a lot of different things, right? So, I had a guy the other day. He was like, "Yeah, I watch all these things, but it's like they say diversify, but what does that mean?"
Right.
So and that's kind of what we help with as financial professionals, right? Is telling you what's good, what's not good. Also it has to do with your risk tolerance too, right? So if you're one of those people who are you like risk, you like being in the stock market, we can do things. Some people like safety. You can still be in the market and be safe. So the S&P 500, right? Open up a Vanguard account, put your money in the S&P 500, and that's basically just like your Apples, your Starbucks. You're invested in a bunch of different company, right? And that's kind of like a safe play. You could do a Roth IRA, right? Which is just a retirement account. You can't touch that till you're 60, but if you start at 30, right now you have a 30-year runway of you putting money into a Roth IRA. And then, like I said, with the permanent life insurance, that's something that's really safe, right? Where if you don't like risk, right? You don't like being just, oh, let me go option trade, right? And I have no idea what that means. There's a lot of things that you can do where you're diversified, you're investing, but it's not, you're not gambling, right? It's not like Las Vegas where you're just gambling your money away. A lot of people think investments like all or nothing. And there's ways to like steadily grow your money, right? Where you're being a little aggressive, but you're not, you know, putting all your money in one basket basically, right? So and then I would just say talk to somebody, right? Talk to me, talk to whoever you want about it, right? Get some advice and make sure that you're putting your money in the right places.
And that was what I was going to ask. So, like, how much of this, or if I'm trying to decide, can I do this alone? Like, can I sit on my computer, get an E-Trade account, play around? Or when do I need to go talk to Bria because it's a little bit more than what I expected?
Yeah. So I would say always talk to somebody first, right? That option trading, I mean, some people are really good at it, but they only show you the good part, right? No one's posting on Instagram when they lose money,
Yeah.
right? So I would say do your own research, yes, but if you have people who are available to you that can help you, as a basketball player, if I was just to try to go, do everything on my own, I wouldn't have got very far, right? But you have coaches for a reason, right?
That's good.
So you can use that whenever. So same thing, right? You have financial people for a reason. That's what we're here for, is to educate you. So I would say lean on somebody. Never really try to do it on your own. There's always something that you don't know.
Oh, I was looking back at my questions. I'm good too. So you just interesting. So at what point I have debt? I'm not speaking personally, but I'm just saying someone who has debt, credit card debt, a little bit of student loan, I might be still paying off my car note. At what point do I decide to invest while still tackling that? Or do you say, nope, stop, don't pass, go, collect your $200 you need to tackle your debt first?
Yeah, I think it just depends on everyone's financial situation, right? So I think if you have a lot of liquidity and you have a lot of money, right, and you have some credit card debt, but it's not stressing you, it's something that you can pay monthly on, right? And then you still have money left over to do more, then yeah, we could pay the credit card. I mean, you have a full financial plan, right? So in there is going to be some investing, right? It's going to be some retirement planning. It's going to be, hey, let's start paying off this credit card, right? But then there's other people who have really no money saved, right? And you can't invest right now, right? I would never let you invest right now, and your credit's horrible. So we need to start paying off some credit card debt, and we need to start saving. So it's really, age, stage, and where you are in life financially that determines what you should be doing and what you can't be doing.
I like that. So what are some common pitfalls or misconceptions as it relates to financial management or wellness?
Spend a check and get it right back. That mindset's terrible. Yeah, that's the problem. Because you never get it right back. That's the thing. Y'all, they spend the checks and then they come to me talking about, I don't know where my money going. It's going to the hookah lounge. That's where it's going. So that's a big misconception, I think. And then it happens overnight is also a big misconception. I think people see this like, I want to make 100,000 in 2 days. And it's like, don't come to me for that. Like, I won't be one to tell you we can flip your money, right? You can bring us 10 grand and we're going to make it 10 million in 2 weeks, right? These people want that quick money. They want that fast money. And, financial freedom and investing is a slow game, right? It's a long-term play. So that's some of the misconceptions people have, is like we're supposed to be just some genie in a bottle, financial flippers. And that's not the case. It's going to be work. It's going to be hard. It's going to take a long time, and you got to have patience and trust the process. But it will pay off in the end. So
That's good. I like that because Instagram, TikTok, all the things will have you to believe that everybody's rich at 25.
Right.
And so I think what it makes other people and some people might have it, I'm not here to judge and count anybody's pockets, but for those who don't, I think they fall into those, pitfalls because you're trying to keep up with a lifestyle that you think is normal when really that's the exception.
Yeah, that's a major thing, right? And I always say run your own race. Right. So, I mean, I think that's the problem. You can get into a whole other topic of these like relationship couples and stuff where everything looks glitz and glamorous and you're looking at your life. I don't got that and I don't have this. You never know what people's situation is, right? All you see is the post. All you see is the highlight of what's going on. No one sees the lowlights, right? So I would say run your own race financially, right? You're right where God wants you to be in that moment. Right. So you'll get to where you need to be if you put the work in, if you continue to just do the right things, invest in the right places. I think a lot of times people want to, and especially in Atlanta, right? They want to live the lifestyle.
Scammer city.
They want to showboat and have this and have that. But I feel like, in 15, 20 years, who's going to care that you were in the club with Cardi B on a Friday night? You know what I'm saying? So that you're going to care about your kids. You're going to care about retirement. You're going to care how long do I got to work? So a lot of those things that you think matter now in the long run, and you hear people say it all the time where they get old and they're like, a lot of that stuff I cared about back then don't mean nothing. I have all the cars in the world, doesn't mean anything, right? So I would say run your own race and just think about your future.
On the topic of future, we love to think and say generational wealth. I want to build generational wealth. What does that really mean? And what does that really look like? How do you actually get to a point where your kids can eat from the fruits of your labor today?
Well, it's what the Rockefellers did, right? So there's a book on the yeah, but we need to be doing what they're doing, right? So we need to learn from them. And the biggest thing what they did was one, they invested in property, right? So owning land, right? We always talk about as a culture, like we need to start owning things, right? So taking ownership of land and properties that you can pass down to your kids, right? And then another one is all of them had insurance policies. So as soon as they died, you got to think they're transferring $1 million to their kids, right? $500,000 to their kids. And that's just something as a culture we're not thinking about, and we're just now starting to think about is, hey, when we pass, what am I leaving for my kids? What am I putting in this trust and will for my children? That's how you create wealth. Now you're starting your kids off way ahead of where you started off, right? And they learn from that. And they're like, well, my mom made sure before she left, I got $500,000, right? $300,000. Now when they get older, let me leave my kid $600,000. Now it just is continuing, right? So we have to think about, and I don't know, where that lack of knowledge came in, but it's really important to leave something for your children.
Amen. So you just said something, owning land. There's a huge conversation about home ownership. Is it attainable? Is it worth it? Should we still be attempting to buy homes? So what advice would you give on that front?
I know I keep saying this, but a lot of things depends on where you're at in life. So it's like, I mean, home ownership isn't bad, right? It just depends on the interest rates. Right now, it's tough to buy a home. Some people would say it's almost better to have an apartment.
Mm-hmm. I want an apartment.
Yeah.
Return to sender. Home ownership is ghetto, but we could talk about that in another episode.
Right. So, but some people, need to own a home, right? It just depends if you have kids, married, dual income, so.
You know what a dink is?
A dink?
Yeah.
No, it sounds crazy though, but explain it. What's a dink?
Dual income, no kids.
That's what I'm trying to have. No kids, dual income. I want to have kids, just no time soon. No time soon. No, you're good. You're good. So it just, honestly, depends on where you're at. I think, for me right now, having an apartment's better. I'm not in no rush to own a home. There's a lot that comes with owning a home. And right now I'll just pay my little rent, but they charge you for everything out here. I got an air bill. I say,
an air bill
cost me to breathe out here. It's crazy.
Oh, you mean your electricity?
Yeah, I was just messing. But it do. You walk outside in Atlanta, you get charged.
No,
They
you do,
they gonna
for
start
real.
valeting for McDonald's soon. You gonna drive up and $10 to drive through.
It costs to do everything. And I think that's the thing. Like, I think some people probably do have good financial habits, but inflation and because it's just hard to keep up. Like, my mom was like, I'm so sick of you complaining. You make really good money. I do make really good money. But you know what happens? Every time I make more, everything else rises. There's never this large gap. So, like, I think people just get overwhelmed with how much it costs to just exist.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you get ahead when everything's so expensive?
I think, well, yeah, everything is expensive, and I don't know what we do about that. But I think the main thing is organization, right? So a lot of people, they make really good money. They're spending a lot, but they don't know where their money's going. They haven't sat down and done a budget. So I think a lot of people have anxiety around finances because it's not organized in their head. They don't know where every dollar is going. So when you sit down and say, okay, I got $100 going here. Why am I spending $40 here? I can cancel this. I can cancel that. I can put more money here. You get relaxed, right? You get more confidence in yourself. You get more confidence around. Yeah, so and people will forget about like what they're paying for, and then we'll go through a budget, and they're like, I didn't even know I got to cancel that, I got to cancel this, I got to cancel, and that kind of gives you some, financial stability. It gives you some confidence back. But yeah, when you have a bunch of money coming in, a bunch of money going out, and you know where it's going, right? And I know it's tough because people work jobs, and do you want to come home and go through your budget?
No.
Exactly, but it's something that it's really important if you want to gain some financial freedom and have some financial confidence.
So I need to look at my Uber Eats.
Oh my goodness, y'all love some Uber. What is going on with Uber Eats? Target and Uber Eats and traveling. A girl will take a trip on a Tuesday afternoon.
Period.
For no reason.
I'm stressed.
Just to take a trip.
Y'all are stressing me out. I need to get away.
It's crazy.
I'm gone.
I ain't never seen that like it.
I'll think about the repercussions
That
later.
Amex go crazy, don't it?
Oh. We're working on it. Yeah, I have a financial coach actually because he just been pow, 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 pow. So I'm trying to get better. I waited till I'm turning 30 this year, y'all, till I turn 30 to have poor financial habits. But what I've uncovered in my coaching calls is I've always been a spender, but at some points it didn't matter. Like, I didn't have the same responsibilities at 22 that I have at 29. Right. So, like, I think that's important. Like, you may be able to get away with doing things that are not in your best interest because you have a lot of money coming in. So it's like, it's a wash. I don't really think about it. But at some point, your bad habits will catch up to you. So my advice to y'all is figure it out now. Like, be a better person about your finances now before you're forced to, and it's a little bit more uncomfortable, and you have to stop getting Uber Eats and have to stop making Target runs because you're trying to catch up.
Right. And I would say just create good habits, right? I think habits is so foundational when it comes to finances. So, start creating. You don't got to be nothing major. You just start small, right? Do little things. Put $50 away. Put, $100 a month towards a credit card bill. Just start your habits, right? So, as you get older and things change, you've already created the foundation for yourself, already created these habits for yourself. And then it's not so drastic where you're going from, you have to do a complete 180, right? So just take little baby steps, right? Just do a little small 180. Take a little step at a time and don't try to make this huge change later on in life.
I like that. So 3 tips that you would leave our audience with. I know you've given a lot, and it doesn't have to be on the conversation, but anything on your mind that you would leave the people with?
Trust God.
Amen.
I think that's the number 1 tip right there. 2, run your own race, right? And then 3, I'd say, chase fear. I think that's a big one, right? So whatever you're scared of, chase it. That's usually where the breakthrough is on the other side of the road. So whatever makes you uncomfortable, whatever gives you anxiety, that's usually something that you need to be probably, dabbling in. So those are the 3 things that I would give.
Chase fear? I'm scared even listening to this statement.
Yeah. You nervous about a TV show? It's probably something you should be doing, and look at all the good feedback you've gotten.
You're right. Okay, made it make sense in my head. I'm scared. That's why I want to do it. I don't want to do it. That's good. I talked about this in another episode about not letting fear paralyze you. Because I'll sit and not do for a while and be like, nope, I'm too afraid. This looks hard. I can't do it. So then you stop yourself from whatever. Like, this could be another blessing. You could meet somebody new. You could go to Southern and play basketball. So I think that's good. Say that again for me. Chase fear.
Chase fear.
Hold on. You were talking about Southern. I wanted to tell you that I wanted to be a dancing doll.
Oh, yeah. First of all, Southern, best HBCU there is in the country. Go Jaguars. I don't care what nobody say. Boot up. You know what I'm saying? Baton Rouge. Boot. The boot. Baton Rouge. You know, Louisiana. Called the boot. Yeah, because it's shaped like a boot.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. But we got Boosie. NBA Youngboy.
Boosiebbad.
Wipe me down. Hey, so he did. Let me stay professional, though.
No, because I feel like people.
Yeah, this is the Ashleigh show. We ain't going to be professional.
We gotta get loose.
Man, this ain't your normal. It's a podcast, TV show.
It's a talk show. We're
This ain't your normal talk
rebranding.
show.
We got podcast mics today.
I love it.
I'm looking at my producing recorder.
Yeah, I didn't know if I was, I was like, do I? I'm supposed to, anyway.
We're gonna learn because it looks like they're gonna make me use podcast mics on the Ashleigh Williams show. So
Yeah, and if you ever do a relationship talk too, bring me back for that. You should have a girl. You should have a girl and a guy here.
See, what does not the reason why I have stayed away from that conversation is because I don't feel like as single people there's nothing left to add. I think it's already all been said. What more do you have to add to the conversation that has not been said?
About relationships?
Yeah, real quick.
In my opinion, I think we need more grown men. I feel as though men, I don't know, they don't want to take care of I don't know. I feel like you're supposed to take care of a woman, right?
What does that look like?
Yeah, I think you're supposed to pay the bills, in my opinion.
See, here we go.
Right? Right? I feel like a man should pay the bills. I think that's one of the biggest things. That's just what I grew up on, right? Is I see a man take care of the house and a woman, if she want to do whatever she want to do, it's fine, but she shouldn't have to feel forced to pay the bills.
I think you said something pivotal that a lot of people miss in the dating conversation. That's what I grew up on. And so the reason why I'm afraid of the topic is because I think everybody grew up and saw things differently. Now, you may have a positive experience of what you saw your parents do or a negative experience. And so all of us are having this same conversation, but forcing our perspectives on other people. And I think people are different, right? Like, no person is the same, so we can't give this blanketed advice on relationships because nobody's relationship is gonna look the same. Now, I feel you. I'm right with you, but I think everybody is dating people where if that ain't what you want, that's not what you want.
And the problem is, men get real controlling. They pay the bills, think they run out. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard. It got to be a real balance where it's like, I pay the light bill, I pay this, you're gonna do it. So it's tough either way. But there's a good balance. We just got to find it. But I feel bad. There's so many beautiful single women out here in Atlanta. It's so many who work hard and are successful. Like, I'm new, so I'm just seeing this for the first time. Where I'm like,
single?
No, I'm not single.
Right. So the non-single men are in relationships, and the single men don't want to be married.
Why wouldn't you want to get married, though? I love marriage. I love family. I'm a big family person, though. But again, because I grew up in a rough environment, being adopted and stuff like that, so I just know how I want to be with, my family and my kids. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a little different.
Yeah, talk to
that
your
single life ain't it, though.
Single
you
friends.
go home and you got to cook your own meals. It's not fun.
That's why people spending money on Uber Eats.
Yeah, that's not fun. A woman do so much for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? If she really love and care about you, she really make your life better. Y'all can grow together. Y'all can build a business together. So I think it's better to have someone with you and for you and y'all are a team rather than try to be single and, I don't know, dating 8 different people. That's just a lot. I ain't going on 8 different dinner dates, and it's just a lot.
But I'm not a man, so I should not be sitting here talking about a man's perspective.
Way off topic.
But I think like when you have back in the day when our parents were dating, there was no social media. The only people you had access to were the people in your zip code. Like maybe you go travel and randomly meet a person. But when you have access to whoever you want, from baddie to regular degular schmegular girl, no tea, no shade to any, but like as a guy, when you have all those options and you didn't come from that familiar background, what's enticing you to settle down?
Yeah, I think that's the issue.
Exactly.
Right?
So,
So I
like,
think this is
that's
my
what we're not
opinion.
talking about.
This is my last point. This is my last point. I'll get off the Ashleigh show, talk show. So my opinion, we was thinking about that old school love. Everybody wants that old school love, right? So when our parents,
because this might be a little toxic.
what your I think my grandma and grandpa love each other, but they didn't have options. So you know what I'm saying? So back in the day, if I saw you in a bar, club, or wherever we were, there was no, let me get your Instagram, let me get your Snapchat. There wasn't a much. I had to come approach you, ask what time you're gonna be home, ask what your home phone number is, what time can I call you, let's set a date up. Then you had to go be at that date. There wasn't, I'm running late, let me text him real quick. No, you had to be there. You know what I'm saying? So I think people put in a lot more effort to get the person they wanted to be with, and therefore they cherish it a lot more. I think now it's real easy for us. If you say no, I got 10 other girls I can DM. You know what I'm saying? I got 8 other people I can call. I don't got to approach you. I don't got to court you. I think our grandparents, they didn't have all that access. So when they got their woman, that was their woman. You know what I'm saying? They had to put the work in. They had to call when dad was, when the dad's home and who you talk. Exactly. So they put more effort in, and when you put more effort in, you care about something more. And I don't think we got to put a lot of effort in these days into relationships. I think it's.
And I think what happens is, for these single women who are established and successful and beautiful, feel like they have to lower their standards, which is why the bar is where. So men aren't doing much, women are accepting it, and we're continually going in this circle.
Yeah. But get your finances straight. What camera am I looking at? I'm sorry. This is the Ashleigh show. You talk about everything. The main thing is, get your finances right. Start now.
Where can they find you, Brian?
You can find me on Instagram at the ATL Finance Guy. Follow me, DM me. We got I work at Northwestern Mutual. We have a full financial team that would love to, have you guys in the office. We're in Buckhead. DM me, ask me any questions you have. I'm happy to answer. Set up a call with you, set up a Zoom with you. That's all I got. But I appreciate you. You did a great job. Great job. It's the best show out right now. You know what I'm saying? Carisha's, is coming on next. Cardi B. Who else we got coming?
Nobody.
Who else you got?
Oh,
Snoop Dogg coming up. You know what I'm saying? This about to blow.
Anyways. It is, in the name of Jesus.
Yes.
Amen. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of the Ashleigh Williams Show. I'm so excited that y'all stayed to listen. Be back next Wednesday. We drop an episode each and every week. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Woo! How was it?
Amazing.